Exercise-induced asthma is pretty common. Even with athletes, it's estimated that about between 20 to 50% of athletes experience exercise-induced bronchoconstriction. We are more likely to have exercise-induced bronchoconstriction when the control pause is less than 20 seconds. So any person who comes in to me, any adult, if they have exercise-induced asthma, if they are a recreational athlete or a competitive athlete, I will always say we need to improve your control pause to above 20 seconds. Because when your control pause is greater than 20 seconds, there is a better match between your ventilation, the volume of air that you are breathing, and your metabolic needs. And that's what we need. Conversely, if somebody has a control pause of, say, 10 seconds, that person is typically breathing harder and faster. They will have disproportionate breathlessness during physical exercise, and that in turn will cause the airways to constrict. So the warm-up period with asthma, you can always practice some breath holds, and these can be really helpful because they further help to open up the airway. So your warm-up, you're going at a very light, low intensity of physical exercise. It doesn't matter what the movement is. In this example, I would just use walking. So you're walking at a pace that's light to low, and you're breathing in and out through your nose. And after about a minute or so of walking, breathe in and out through your nose and simply hold your nose, hold your breath for about 10 to 15 paces. Then let go and breathe normally and continue walking with normal breathing for about a minute or two. After a minute or two, repeat the breath hold. So you're walking along, and again, take a normal breath in and out through your nose and pinch your nose and hold your breath for 10 to 15 paces. Then revert back to normal breathing. You're continuing walking with normal breathing for a minute or two and do a breath hold again. If you can bring in about 6 to 8 of these relatively easy breath holds into your warm-up, they help to open up the airways. As you're holding your breath, nitric oxide is pooling in the nasal airway. You let go, nitric oxide is being brought into your lungs. This causes bronchodilation. As you hold your breath, carbon dioxide increases in the lungs, increases in the blood. This helps with bronchodilation. And then during your physical movement, increase the intensity of your physical movement while paying attention to your breathing. You will feel when your airways are easier. And as your airways are getting easier due to the progressive warm-up, then you can start increasing the intensity. And you will notice that this will have a significant change in terms of exercise-induced asthma. So the two things to take into consideration are, number one, build up your BOLT score. Increase your BOLT score to above 20 seconds. You're much less likely then to have exercise-induced bronchoconstriction. Number two, always go easy for the first 10 to 15 minutes of physical exercise if you're prone to exercise-induced bronchoconstriction. And during your warm-up, do some breath holds. Bring in about 6 to 8 breath holds during your light physical movements. And this way you can help to open up the airways and increase the pace of your physical exercise in tandem with how your airways are feeling. Now, at the end of physical exercise, it's also very important to recover. Because if, for example, you continue breathing hard and fast post-physical exercise, this can also bring on your symptoms of airway narrowing. So it's very important, you're after doing your physical exercise, get your breathing under control. Think about breathing soft, breathing slow, breathing nose. So you're finished your physical exercise and you're really making a concerted effort to get your breathing under control as quick as you can. That way you can help to avoid exercise-induced bronchoconstriction post-physical exercise. But I will say this, even though it's more challenging to breathe through your nose during physical exercise, there is no comparison with the benefits of nasal breathing during physical exercise in compared to mouth breathing, even if you don't have asthma. Because when you breathe through your nose, you've got a better oxygen uptake in the blood, you've got a better oxygen transfer to the working muscles, you've got better recovery, your nose is adding an extra load onto the breathing muscles. This is helping to strengthen the diaphragm. By breathing through your nose, you're helping to reduce the body's chemosensitivity to carbon dioxide. Your nose breathing is helping to protect the airways. There is absolutely no comparison the benefits of nose breathing versus mouth breathing during physical exercise. Why do so many people breathe through an open mouth during exercise? It's easier, that's why. The air hunger is less. But if you do your physical exercise at an intensity where you can sustain nasal breathing. Over time, with continued nasal breathing during exercise, the air hunger diminishes, and then you can do more with less. So it's a great way to train, and it's also a great way to improve your fitness levels. Measure your controlled pause before you do physical exercise, do your physical exercise, and then measure your controlled pause about a half an hour after you've finished physical exercise. If you have done your physical exercise with good breathing, in and out through the nose, controlled breathing, your controlled pause when measured a half an hour after physical exercise, it should be higher. And what's more, your everyday breathing is going to influence your breathing during physical exercise. By improving your everyday breathing patterns, by practicing the Buteyko technique, your controlled pause increases, and as your controlled pause increases, your breathlessness, your ventilation during physical exercise decreases. This means you can do more with less. In other words, it doesn't take the same degree of ventilation. You can exercise harder and faster with less volume of breathing. So there's a saving there in terms of economy. So if you want to get fit, improve your controlled pause and practice the Buteyko method.